for being offline last week. We had kind of a fractured schedule around here, so we were not on with everything going on with weather overtime and things of that nature because of the fact that we had these schedules changing, and I had to put in some unique hours, unfortunately, to have to deal with anything involving covering various locations and schedules and anything of that nature. But this week we are back and everything is where it needs to be, so everything is doing just fine at this point. There's a little bit of some storms going on for right now. Doesn't look like much, but we will be talking about that coming up here in just a little bit. Bear with me. I want to make certain that everything is where it needs to be at this time before we get too far into everything, because unfortunately things have a habit. We've got everything connected, audio's working and video's working, and I try to do everything on here. Okay, audio's working fine, that's good. Okay, so far so good, so I think we are good to go at this point in time. All right, so weather overtime. This is our online video weather blog. If you tuned in last week and we weren't on, apologies for that, as we were, again, keeping track of a lot of other stuff happening with different fruit basket upset schedules. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. This is our online video weather blog. If you've never been here before, this is your opportunity to ask questions, find out more about what's going on with weather. Dropping into the chat section of either YouTube or Twitch. Go ahead and give us an idea as to where you are, location. If you're in this area, great. If not, we'd love to hear from you regardless. So just say hi. If you have a question about the forecast, about the tropics, about everything else going on, please say so, and we'll answer that question as soon as we possibly can. So we're coming to you from Chattanooga, Tennessee, southeastern United States, where it is very hot and humid out across the area, and probably going to be staying that way for quite some time. We do have a bit of a downturn coming up. Notice again the 7-day forecast down in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. You can get there by going to wdef.com/weather if you'd like to see all of our weather graphics to begin with, and keep an eye on what's going on with weather around here in those locations. Let's get started with radar current and show you that we have a lot of opportunities for rain. Chattanooga in the upper section of your screen up here below our toolbar on News 12 radar. We do have a decent amount of special weather statements from around Gilmer, Tennessee, Gilmer, Gordon, in that area. That is where we have excuse me, the worst of the worst where it comes to anything involving severe weather or close to severe weather. Special weather statements are issued when it's just about a little bit below severe weather status. And as of right now, again, we do not have any severe weather. Some of these storms coming up from this area were severe not too long ago, but as of right now, the worst activity is located over the area around Gilmer, down into Pickens, Dawson, and heading up toward Fannin counties in Georgia. So this area here is picking up a decent amount of activity. Thunderstorms are located and noted as being strong over Fawcett Lake, 10 miles east of Jasper, moving northeast at 15 miles per hour, 40 mile per hour wind, pea-sized hail, frequent cloud-to-ground lightning. So that is where we're seeing the worst of the worst activity for right now. We're showing no signs of any tornadic weather taking place, and these storms don't appear to be anything in the way of being close to tornadic strength at this point in time. Matter of fact, let's take a look way over into and around that particular area. That's way on the edge for right now, so let me remove the lightning real quick, and we'll switch radars to go down and see what's going on. No tornadic signatures. This is the radar from the Atlanta Peachtree City National Weather Service office, and it's rather way up there in the atmosphere, so we're not getting any good rotation signatures, and doubtful we're going to be seeing too much of anything out of that for tonight, so we're not seeing any major danger taking place where it comes to heavy amounts of any rotation. But as the special weather statement said, there is going to be the potential of some frequent cloud-to-ground lightning. And this particular cell here, right over the area of Pickens and Dawson County, that is showing some pretty healthy signs of becoming more robust, and that making its way slowly to the north. There's nothing really driving these storms anywhere across the area, so they're basically drifting. There's not that much to them. And we'll see, again, more potential of these storms overnight and into around early tomorrow morning. Most of these should be dissipating, hopefully, in the next few hours. The worst opportunity for anything involving weather is going to be coming up. And let me switch back to our high top radar. Most of what we're looking at is way over into around Little Rock, where they have tornado watches in effect here down into Louisiana and northeastern Texas. That is the worst of the worst potential of where we could see, again, the possibility of very heavy rain coming in for overnight, most of which we are seeing for right now is what we've got here is just basically scattered type stuff. There's nothing really major going on, but there will be that potential of seeing better areas of rainfall in the next couple of days. And when that happens, I think we will be seeing a lot more in the way of rain and thunderstorms blocking out the sunshine. That's going to have a nice effect on our temperatures, if only for a 24-hour period at best. So that's about as good as we can see for right now. So that's the story for so far when it comes to anything involving stronger weather. Taking a look out across Lee Point and down to around the area of the Chattanooga airport, we do have, again, some very misty conditions out there. Not exactly foggy, but not exactly clear either. And probably going to be seeing more humidity, possibly some fog into tomorrow morning, although not much is being said of that for right now. News 12 studios overlooking the north flank of Lookout Mountain and showing, again, some of that mist and haze out there for this evening. Plenty of moisture. We might see a burst of lightning out there at some point, but I really doubt we're going to be seeing too much of anything really concentrated. This view looking north from downtown Chattanooga across the river and toward the North Shore, that is where we're looking at the potential for more clouds and some rainfall, but the worst of it is going to be mainly south of Chattanooga, back down into that particular area. So not much going on here. Let me get rid of that. That's the time frame scheduler. So, okay, Chattanooga Red Wolf Stadium. Again, not showing a lot of good visibility for right now, just a lot of haze in portions of the area. Could be some fog out there into later on tonight. Doesn't look like a huge amount. Had some rain downtown on the North Shore. Speedy's Total Car Care camera. Not too many folks out and about. It's not a beautiful evening all the way on through, especially with the humidity the way it is. Very sultry conditions, and we'll continue to see that throughout the rest of the evening. Let's go back here. 84 at the Chattanooga airport. Humidity of 67%. The dew point in that 70-degree plus, very uncomfortable range. So humidity is quite high. And as of right now, that is the way it's going to be staying for the next couple of days. Temperatures, we are just past 10 o'clock Eastern time. So a view of the numbers showing 80s for the most part and a few upper 70s. Decatur, Tennessee, Andrews and Murphy, North Carolina in the high 70s. Lower 70s around Rome, Georgia. So we are seeing a little bit of some cool downs thanks to the passing rain showers in some locations. It's not much, but at least it is dropping the temperatures from what they were. So that is at least some comfort anyway where the numbers are concerned, but we are not looking at cooler weather specifically anytime soon. Another day in the triple digits, 100 degrees. Last record high today was 104, set back in 1977, and a low temperature nowhere close to a record, unfortunately. 53 was the last time we got that low, and we were 24 degrees hotter than that for this afternoon. No official rain today. That'll probably kick over after midnight. An inch, 0.25 behind for July, and we're only into the month by a week or so, so we could definitely use some more possibilities of anything involving some rainfall out there. So just not really getting too much to help out on that. And you can see that by the yearly deficit, 4.5 inches behind. So we are talking about some very low numbers on precipitation, which means our drought situation may be increasing, which also may seem to say that if we don't get some rainfall in here soon, we're probably looking at the potential for some more wildfires to develop. That, again, is going to be a serious concern in the next several days if we don't get a pretty good soaking, and that looks to be several days away. We would love to be able to see the remnants of Beryl move up this direction, but for right now it does not look like that's going to be happening. Beryl now working its way. Let me correct the camera on here so we can see this a little bit better. The camera showing again the south central United States, and Beryl has now been downgraded to a tropical depression as it moves through the Arklatex area. So seeing some winds now down to 35 miles per hour. The movement is still to the north and east at approximately 16 miles per hour. So once these things move over the land surface, they're cut off from their fuel supply. There is still plenty of moisture that it's moving onshore that can feed this thing, but nowhere close to being over a ocean surface. So this thing is weakened very spectacularly in the last about 24 hours. Remember that this used to be a Category 5 hurricane about a week or so ago. That's amazing to think about this storm system having come so far and lasted for so long. But for right now, this system is dying off, but it's not done just quite yet. It's going to be making its way up to the north and to the east, and then as we watch this system go a little farther to the north and east, it's going to arc north and east of us. So we're not going to be seeing too much out of this system for the most part, but this is going to have the effect of dragging in a lot of moisture. Again, that rotation is very strong. It's holding together pretty well, even though it is downgraded to a tropical depression. This system is moving a lot of moisture-rich air onshore. That's where our humidity is coming from. That's where the fuel for these showers and thunderstorms are coming from. So that is going to keep us in the chances of rain into the next couple of days as this basically falls apart and becomes an area of low pressure. So just basically a run-of-the-mill storm system as it gets farther onshore and does a good job of diminishing as it goes. So what are we looking for in the next about 12 hours? The system will give us more chances of showers and thunderstorms well back over to our west. So Little Rock, central Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, northwest Louisiana could be looking at the potential of some very heavy rainfall. So if you're heading tonight west of the Mid-South across the Mississippi River, that is where we might see, again, west of there toward Little Rock and west of the Mississippi, could be looking at some pretty good heavy amounts of rainfall. Then into tomorrow, what's left of Beryl gets right to our west, stirs up more of those showers and thunderstorms, heads back over to our north and east, and then as this system continues to spread, again, areas of low pressure, the air rotates counterclockwise. So this is going to drag down some pretty good amounts of dry air, and that is going to swiftly replace our chances of rainfall going into midweek. So as that front trailing Beryl's remains moves through, the temperatures are going to be much more improved by about a category or so. We could be back in the mid to upper 80s, which at this time of the year, that is almost an Arctic front coming through. You saw our record low temperatures back in the 50s, and we have to have a powerful punch of cold air to get that chilly this time of the year. This is going to be, again, this is going to be our best chance of seeing temperatures less than normal, but again, also on the semi-steamy side. We'll get some dry air in, yes, but it's not going to be enough to knock all the humidity out. It might help a little bit, but as of right now, kind of difficult to say. So for the time being, again, this front will help us out on that. Going through Thursday and into Friday, temperatures with the extra sunshine will develop, getting us higher in temperature. An area of low pressure develops around the southeastern United States. Now, whether or not that becomes anything in the way of a tropical system, it looks like it's going to be hugging the coast a little bit too much to make its way all the way out into the ocean waters, but it is going to be in a very good place to draw in that moisture from off the Atlantic and dump it into the Carolinas, the Virginias, even down toward Georgia. So this could be fairly significant for anything between Florida and Cape Cod as this system hugs the coastline and brings some very inclement beach weather as we go toward the rest of the week and into the weekend. And of course, we're sitting right back in the soup again, so there's going to be little, if anything, out there to really cool us off outside of this passing remnant of a tropical system. So for right now, tomorrow is going to be looking pretty roasty, back in the lower to mid 90s once again. We could be seeing again some very ugly conditions with the heat index as well, and that's going to continue. The latest from the Storm Prediction Center is showing the better potential of excessive heat, as in dew points and higher heat index numbers of, say, 105 to 110 plus in this particular area, mainly south and east of the News 12 viewing area. So in a sense, that's some good news, and that heat is moving away from us. But it is possible that this heat, once we get done with this particular burst downwards, thanks to Beryl moving through, we could see another very hot middle of the month. It is July, yes, I know, but it is also possible that we could see some very hot temperatures. Now, according to the Climate Prediction Center, right back in that above normal chance for hotter temperatures going into month's end. So the month of July, early August, not helping us stay cool in any way, shape, or form. So we've got little, if any, good news there. So we'll see, again, anything changing anytime soon, and we'll let you know about that as soon as we can. So definitely stay tuned for more with News 12. Speaking of Beryl, I don't have the graphic ready on our link system, so I'm just going to show this to you for right now. The National Hurricane Center map don't have anything immediate taking place between here and West Africa. However, there is always the possibility, once Beryl moved through, usually that stirs up the ocean waters and gets some upwelling of colder conditions. That's not happening. We're not seeing anything in the way of much cooler ocean temperatures for right now, and usually you see that when these storm systems go past. But we're not picking that up at this time. We're not seeing anything that's helping us to cool things off, and the area around the tropics remains very much on the warm side. Now, north of the Yucatan, we've got a bit of a downturn here, but numbers back in the lower to mid 80s from the Bay of Campeche all the way out into around Hispaniola and farther out into the Atlantic. So once again, we've got rocket fuel just sitting and waiting for the next storm to develop or wander through. Now, like I just showed you with the National Hurricane Center, there is nothing developing at this point as of Monday evening, 10:15 p.m. Eastern, but that again could change into the course of the rest of the forecast as we go into the next few days. So we've had a very active start. We are now up to the B and C storm. We had Chris last week make its way across northeastern Mexico. So we've got up to the D storm now. That's waiting for us. So we will be seeing that potential coming up in the course of the next few days or weeks, depending on how things go. So we've got a long ways to go in this season, and I implore you that if you are going to the coastline, down to the ocean, no matter where you're going in and around this area, pay close attention to the forecast, because again, if you're heading into an area where a storm is heading into, you're going to have to turn right back around and head back out of that area. So it's going to pay to be very flexible when it comes to your schedules. Keep it tuned to News 12. We'll keep you updated on the potential of anything happening. Other good news, we are seeing a lot more dust from the Sahara. This dust gets blown all the way over to the Amazon rainforest. This is good fertilizer. Sometimes this dust makes its way all the way up to where we are, and that's why you get that grit on your car and why the sky turns that hazy shade of grayish yellow instead of the blue skies that you see. Now, what this does is also it blocks out the sun. So in these areas that is covered over by some pretty potentially thick amounts of dust and sand being blown off Western Africa, these pulses will not allow for too much gaps in between. Some, yes, but it's possible that a lot of this dust, and some of this is circulating up to where we are, so we're not getting a lot of huge amounts of anything involving tons of dust here, but what we are also seeing is a good pulse of this dust helping to possibly curb the development of any possible strong tropical weather. So this is really starting to help out at this point in time, and that again might keep our numbers down. The only trouble is there is still a lot of energy from the sun being collected by this area of the ocean, and we could be looking at a lot of available energy in the first 10 to 20 feet of the ocean surface. That is tons and tons of energy just sitting there waiting for the next storm to roll over it and take advantage of it. When that happens, things are going to happen very, very quickly. And you're going to have to be very prepared for changing your schedule way over here on this side of the planet from a storm that is coming from halfway around the world. So this is the time of year to be very careful. We have now gone through a month and a week and a day of hurricane season. So we now have just less than about, 4 months in there? You have 4.5 months until the end of hurricane season. So we have got a long way to go. So definitely time to pay attention to what's going on. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on with the forecast for tonight. We've got some lightning out there in the distance. Excuse me. And we've got also some very hot weather. Now, what's going to shake out here is going to be the potential of some hotter weather tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms thanks to Beryl lasting through about early Wednesday, and that takes our temperatures down into Wednesday to the mid-80s. That's going to feel glorious compared to what is in our semi-near future. That is where we start picking up the potential for some more problems. With the temperatures going into the high 90s, add some more humidity to all that coming in from off the Atlantic and the Gulf. That is where we could see heat indexes well over 100 degrees. So I would not be surprised to see more heat advisories in our near future. So we get a bit of a downturn here, sunny, humid, and hot from Thursday through about Sunday, and then the chances of showers and thunderstorms come back our direction, and that gets us into a very long period of time to where we do not have any cooler weather sticking around. So if you've got outdoor plans, sunblock, extra ice water to take with you, keep an eye on those working or exercising around with you, and yourself. Know when to take breaks. Take a break. Get somebody else who's showing signs of pushing themselves too hard. Get them in the shade. Get them in the air conditioning. Again, keep an eye on their body numbers, the pulse, their respiration. If they start losing consciousness, it's time to cut everything and just get them to a place of safety. Remember that very profuse sweating is a good sign of heat exhaustion, along with confusion, a little bit of, again, maybe nausea and vomiting going on with that. Heat stroke is when the body's core just basically says, I can't take it anymore, and the skin becomes dry and your sweating mechanism shuts down. That person, you need to get them to 911 emergency medical care immediately. That's the worst of the worst, and that can be a fatal condition. So please know your own limits. Keep an eye on those working and exercising around with you. It's going to be one of the best things you can possibly do for everybody. This type of weather, heat can be a killer just as much as severe weather can. So that is something that we really do kind of need to pay attention to and watch what is happening for anything going on at this point in time. So that's about the worst of the worst for this evening. We're going to be keeping a close eye again on the rest of the forecast for tonight, but I think any severe weather is a fairly foregone conclusion at this point that we're not going to be seeing a lot. but it is possible anyway that we could see some of that coming up a little bit later on. All right, from our friends at friendinroofing.com, our weather poll of the day, the previous owner of the longest lightning bolt ever recorded was around Brazil in 2018. The longest one happened just off the Gulf Coast in April of 2020, but how long was it? 55 miles, 140, 477, or 678? The correct answer, 32% of you voted for it, and it was 477 miles across Texas and into southern Mississippi. So a long distance on that. Nice to be able to see that there. We'll have a new poll going up at midnight, so if you'd like to check in, we'd love to be able to get that going. So wdef.com/vote now for more on that. Weather window of the day. Thank you very much for what looks to be almost an albino skunk until you take a look at the landing gears down here, and you see a little bit of black around the forepaws and the snout, and whatever you do, stay away from the tail end. That's a very not good place to be in line of sight. Cool Mornings bringing out a beautiful skunk. Thank you very much, user at Holly Joe from Athens. That's our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. And if you've got pictures, all you have to do is send them in to us at pictures@wdef.com. Drop them to our social media pages. Drop them to our website, wdef.com/photos, and you can see what everybody else is submitting for the Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. Again, if you're going to be out on the golf course tomorrow or doing anything outdoors, be prepared for that heat index. Again, sunblock, extra water. If you see lightning in the distance, if you hear thunder through the trees, wrap it up and get back indoors again. There's not a great chance of rain, but there is some across the area, mainly in the afternoon. So if you're out there playing 18 holes and there's thunder and lightning, cut it and get back indoors again and stay in the clubhouse until those storms have moved at least 30 miles away or have dissipated. That's going to be your best bet to stay safe out there. So please remember the safety and precautions as you go through the rest of the forecast. Into the next several days, we'll be looking for more potential of some thunderstorms out there. So definitely want to pay attention to that, and we'll keep you updated on all of that coming up. We are covered by 4 different National Weather Service offices. We are covered by Nashville to the northwest. We're covered by Huntsville to the southwest, to the southeast, Peachtree City, Georgia, in Atlanta, and to the northeast of Chattanooga. We're covered by the National Weather Service in Morristown, Tennessee. Well, they're going to be offering an open house coming up in a couple of months to where you, the public, totally free, you can drop by and learn more about what goes on at the National Weather Service, how important their mission is, what they do on an everyday basis. You can watch a weather balloon get launched, tour the offices, meet the meteorologists, speak with other local agencies, learn how warnings and other products are issued. It's surprising, really, how much the National Weather Service does. So if you'd like to make certain that you know a little bit more about what's going on, please take advantage of this if you live in and around the area. Again, Saturday, September 28th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., There's no registration, but if you have questions about where, when, things like that, any questions of that nature, go to their website, weather.gov/MRX. That's the 3-letter identifier for the National Weather Service's offices on their websites there. They're located at 5974 Commerce Boulevard, Morristown, Tennessee, 37814. It's rare that this happens. They've been happening a lot more in the last about 10 to 20 years, but it's rare to have an opening like this where the National Weather Service says, come on in, ask questions, take a look around. And a lot of folks that I've met really don't know what goes on in the National Weather Service, how they make the forecast, where the data comes from, what the responsibilities are when it comes to severe weather. Now, this right here is a good time to ask questions. So if you'd like to know more about what's going on in and around the area where the National Weather Service is located and what they do to protect you and me and everybody else, this is a grand opportunity. So please take advantage of this. Again, this is coming up Saturday, September 28th. That's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the National Weather Service in Morristown. If my schedule's clear, I might just show up and do a little bit of filming and show everybody doing this, coming on by and taking a look. This is a really, again, kind gesture to show what is done for the community by your tax dollars and my tax dollars at work. Let's be frank about this. We help pay for this. And this is what is so important these days when there's talk about cutting budgets and doing a job of reducing government, what some people see as government waste. They would do well to go to one of these seminars, one of these open houses, and ask questions and open their facilities a little bit to be able to see a little bit more about what happens. So please consider dropping by and seeing what the National Weather Service does for you, for your neighbors, for us here at News 12, and everything else. So definitely want to find out more about that. One last thing before we finish up here. Barnard Astronomical Society will be holding a star party coming up this weekend. Again, the main concern here is weather dependent. We could see a lot of clouds this weekend, so that could be a bit of a problem. So something to think about there, just to be on the safe side. So if you are going to be traveling and would like to learn more about what's going on with the weather situation, keep it tuned, because they will update their social media pages at about 2-3 o'clock during the afternoon of the star party. You don't have to bring your telescope. They have plenty of those. So if you'd like to just stop by, introduce your kids to a great hobby like astronomy, a lot of science involved, a lot of very cool history involved in that, and that's from 8:30 to 11 p.m. at Harrison Bay State Park, the Harrison Bay State Park Recreational Hall parking area, if you'd like to stop by and take a look there. All right, I think that should do it for the rest of the night.
Storm reports out in Georgia right now.
Okay.
Severe storm that moved through.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we'll get to that here coming up in just a second here. Let's see what we got. Okay, we've got a little bit of activity going on. Let me stop this real quick. Okay, and no, that's not it. There we go. Okay, so we do have some damage reported down into around Sonoraville, Georgia. Tree limbs down, power poles down. That was about hour and a half ago, somewhere in there. And reporting hail of 1 inch, Sonoraville. Okay, give me control. Why is she doing this? There we go. Okay, 1.5 inch hail, ping pong ball sized hail, Sonoraville, Georgia, down into Gordon County. So we are getting at least some reports there, but fortunately doesn't look like much. So good news on that. Thank you very much, Spencer Holt, our new weather intern here at News 12. Thank you very much for giving us an update there. Okay, I think that should do it for tonight. We've got to be on the air here in about half an hour for News 12 at 11. Andrew Harrison on with the news. Brian Armstrong is in for Rick Nyman, who's on taking a bit of much needed and well-deserved vacation time. So he'll have sports coming up in just a little while. And of course, Chip Chapman will be back tomorrow morning bright and early if you'd like to see more about what's going on with the weather there. Don't forget to check out our website, wdef.com/weather. Hopefully you're watching from this. We upload all of our Weather Overtime repeats so you can see the encore presentation available, not just on Twitch and YouTube, but you can get more, again, at wdef.com/weather. That should do it for tonight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Please stay tuned to News 12 on air and online. We'll keep you updated with the latest information. And, of course, Chip's got your forecast update. Very hot couple of days coming up on News 12 this morning, bright and early at 5 a.m. Eastern Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on Tuesday night for another edition of News 12 Weather Overtime.